G'day folks, welcome to an EcoFarmer's Discovery, the audiobook companion podcast. Join Ewan Campbell as he takes a deep dive into his book, uncovering all the secrets of soil health, biology, and true farm independence. You can listen along to his book on Spotify or download from Audible, and then catch us here as we deep dive into the events of each chapter. We're now up to Chapter 8. Let's go. Okay, Chapter 8. Results on the hoof. You mentioned experimenting with minerals and kibbled maize to improve cattle weight gains. Why did you get curious about that?
Well, I've been working with Peter Lester, and as in some of the previous chapters, had talked about making these lick blocks up with minerals and a whole process there. So what I did was followed that through and looked at some of the work from overseas in regards to grain-fed beef and mineralogy and all that sort of stuff. So I just carried on the experimentation to see the weight gains I was getting for the input costs that we're putting into it, and then looking at, what came out the other end. But once we'd seen the weight gains and the quality of the animals, well, then it went to, what's it actually done to the meat inside?
Yeah, I suppose that was obvious too, right? If it's going to make them healthy, it's going to taste good.
Well, you would think so, but, this is the ongoing factor that hasn't been, proven per se in New Zealand agriculture anyway.
Yeah, good point. I suppose just because something's a big cow doesn't make it a good cow.
No, it can be tough as old boots. I mean, it's just just because it's a big truck tyre doesn't mean it's any good on a mini.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So it must have been funny and I guess incredibly frustrating for the at the beginning of that chapter how the butcher had done a double cross on you and seen that there was a really good beast to give out to a better client. Yeah,
it was something that I've seen right through the whole of the butchery meat trade from that point forward. Yeah.
I have to say, it was really shocking to me. And then I went, of course, I suppose they would, because you could.
Because you could, yeah. And you're sitting there going, what the hell's this? And it tastes like shit. And oh, God, I was lucky I didn't have to replace the dog's teeth as well.
Yeah. I must wonder how many people have actually ever had truly good meat.
Great point. I don't know. I mean, as we entered into the market after these results on the hoof, it was really well received. Generally, meat's just a price item, and I guess we were way ahead of the game. We were like, shit, look what's happening. We can do this. We can fix this, and people weren't really worried about the food quality. I mean, we're talking 25 years ago. And longer actually. When I started down this track, I was still playing rugby, so wasn't even 30 at the time. And so we're talking a long time back, and the community and the whole food quality issue hadn't really come to the fore at all. And I think when we look at what's happened, the increase in ADHD and all these other bits and pieces that are just prevalent in our society now, it's really changed in that time. And I can say is like being there first is brutal because you're trying to make a change, and you're trying to make a change to people that don't want to know. To a point where we are now is like, well, we know how this works, and when people are really looking for some answers, and the more and more of the community buying cattle off us for home kill, or they're really wanting to go back to the source of food.
So you take these incredible beasts down to Low Walker meat processors. Are they still around?
No, they were bought up by Richmond, and it's just been an ongoing, and now they're Silver Fern Farms.
Right. So back in the day, you're going to Low Walkers and you're watching for the numbers that come down the track. But then you see this change in meat quality. You don't even need to check the numbers. You know it's your 6. What was that like?
It was like, it worked.
Yeah.
That's the big thing about it. It was like, whoa, that's pretty straight up. And it's sort of really interesting to see that and then see no one else could give a shit. And it was like right from the word, like it was, Brownie was really good. Yeah, come over, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll take it through the thing. And followed the process, and they just really didn't give a shit.
They give more of a shit about I suppose that's farmers that don't really, or the industry that doesn't really give a shit.
No, I look at it more of if you're selling a bottle of wine, the difference between a $5 bottle of wine and a $35 bottle of wine is about $25 profit.
Yeah.
It costs a little bit more for the nurturing and everything for the more expensive, but the margin is
huge,
phenomenally different.
Yeah.
And I don't see that any different to the whole process of beef as well. I mean, we went into it, the further it went on and we got into the restaurant trade and that, we got to the top of the market. We got into the French Cafe. They won Restaurant of the Year for I don't know how many years in a row. We were consistent suppliers, places like O'Connell Street Bistro, and they just loved us. And because it was the consistency and quality week in, week out that no one else could get. And this becomes a frustrating point when you are actually doing it. You ask for some funding and they go away, and then you start doing it and nobody gives a shit about it. They don't investigate. It was just a wake up call, really. It's like, and that's where we really got to look at as farmers. Have to look after our own interests, but we're also looking after the community's interests because we're actually providing the food for their health.
Yeah. This first experience at the freezing works, about how many years ago was that now?
It'll be 30 years ago now.
Has much changed in that time?
No.
And do you think that what you were doing at that time to have such exceptionally good beasts has changed for you?
Oh, we've only got better.
Yeah.
And got it better at lower cost.
What have you dropped?
Well, basically, the things that the grain and that went, because we actually managed to get the feed quality up. Basically, we've just managed to get that soil nutrition to bring it through into the animal, so we don't need to do that.
In terms of uniformity in carcasses across the industry, what systemic issues do you think contribute to that inconsistency? Is there I guess there's there are things from farm to farm, but what's systemic?
Nutrition.
Yeah.
That's the critical factor in the whole process. Like, I can take what we've done and put it on another farm, and within 12 months they're already telling me and going, God, we knocked a beast. Oh man, does that stuff of yours work that fast? And go, yeah. It happens fast.
Well, how fast is fast in months?
Oh, look, within 12 months you'll have changed the quality of the product that's coming off your farm.
That's unbelievable. So Keith Courtney, the pyro butcher, tell me about him.
Oh, just a really nice guy. I mean, we wandered in there one day and said, look, this is what we're doing. He says, oh, well, I'll buy a carcass off you. And then we just said, shit, that's good.
Yeah.
And he just continued to sell it out through the shop. And it was just a wake-up call for me too about the whole dealing with the public and the whole realisation of their eating patterns changing and that. And as I say, we were like the first cab off the rank in a lot of ways. We went on to doing a bit of mail order stuff and selling, like getting some beasts cut up by them, and we would market them ourselves in bits and pieces. It was just our toe in the water in the butchery trade. For my own sanity, if I look back, I should have pulled the toe out and sawed it off then and there.
Right, because you went on to do Cambrian.
Yeah, well, we went on to have the butcher shop and then have a whole processing centre. I mean, I was in the game for 15, 20 years, like 15 years full on, absolutely full on.
Do you call yourself a butcher at that point?
No, lunatic with a knife. Brilliant.
They've had other names, by the way, in history.
Yeah. Like the boys just no. I'm not a butcher. I marvel at their skills and that, but there's no point me doing something that other people are really good at.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think you mentioned outside of the recording of the book something about a butcher who was particularly interested in experimenting or learning more. Was that Keith?
He was one. Yeah, that would have been it. Like, he was really cool, and he just helped.
He was really passionate about trying different things.
He was really passionate. I mean, talk about doing different things. When he sold the butchery, he went and he created a Christmas tree farm.
Wow.
Yeah. So he did, so he was
interesting things.
Yeah, he did. He was interesting things. Nice guy. Really nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that speaks to a mind that just gets sick of the mundane repetition and looks for interesting things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where passion is, I think. In terms of scientific discoveries and how you, apply them, you found that your heifers had much lower saturated fat and much higher omega-3 levels. How did that come about? Like, what's the
Well,
like, someone who wants to do that? How do
It's
they
quite a simple process when you actually see it, because there's a technical term, because a plant produces a fat called conjugated linoleic acid.
Yeah, right.
And the animal can digest it.
CLA.
Yeah, CLA. Yeah. And the animal can digest that and turn it into omega-3s and omega-6. And like in grass-fed beef, it tends to go to omega-3. The omega-6 comes from grain-fed beef, which is, then we head back to the saturated fat. So it changes it a lot.
Okay. So I'm thinking about, how in the book you talk about omega-3 levels that are rivaling salmon. How important is that in terms of the future of farming and health-conscious individuals?
Well, omega-3 is quite an expensive product if you want to feed it. Like, you can buy conjugated linoleic acid to feed to your cows. It's one of the most expensive feed options there is.
Wow.
So if you can grow it on the farm, you're actually increasing the feed conversion and the ability for the animal to actually put a lot of weight on in a healthy manner.
Yeah.
So like straight away, it's really good for your animals because you're growing more protein and with the right type of fat, and you get paid for weight gain, not for fat gain. So, like, it makes a huge difference. And like, the cooking of these products is so different. Like, if you cook a sausage from these beef, you don't see fat dribble out all over the pan. If you cook a pot of mince, you don't have to scrape the fat off the top. That does not happen.
Wow.
And so it changes the whole way the animal's functioning, and hence that's what we get. So you want to carry on with that whole nutritional process right through.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what challenges did you face while navigating research standards and collaborating with labs like Amdel?
Generally, the thing that really, really annoyed me was just how basic and bad the research was. Like, there were standards that we were facing in regards to the fatty acid profile of beef. And I said, well, Mirren's had actually done that. And I've got volumes, or I had volumes of books on the standards for fat profiles and fish and Atlantic salmon and all these different things. You had a set of protocol. And he said, oh, yeah, well, we did those protocols for the beef. And I go, well, how did you do the protocol? Oh, we just went to the meatworks and got 6 animals and we did the protocol. And I'm going, but how do you know what farm? And, well, there's no real difference. And I'm going, okay. And so when you do the numbers and that sort of stuff, and I must have had an impact, because I actually started selling beef to the people that working at Mirren's for their own home consumer,
Well, they knew it was good.
Yeah, but that was the interesting thing. It didn't go any further. And so, this is the real frustrating part. You thought that if you'd rolled onto a really good bit of research and this was going to function, this had a benefit for New Zealand meat and, whole across the board, and it didn't. And, that was the frustrating part with beef and lamb when you went looking for trial work. And they turned around and said to me, when I quizzed the hell out of them, I said, look, why did you get me to do that when you knew that all the research went to ag research? So you wasted my time just to see what I was looking, what I was digging out. So they had no qualms about wasting my time.
Were they trying to steal your secrets?
Oh, they want to know what you're up to.
Yeah.
And you just like, it's frustrating in that regard. But it taught me a lot. Don't trust them.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. In terms of farming practices and getting consistency in meat quality, what advice would you have to farmers now to get that consistency?
Well, the easiest thing to do is follow what we do. I mean, if you really want to make the change, we can show you how to make the change. I'm not bashful about it. I mean, the biggest thing to go to a bigger market outside the country, and I think this is part of the whole of farming operations, is that if you combine the environmental impact that you've got on the farm, so like we've got clean water, we've got higher carbon, then you've got a product that goes with us, it's got seriously good meat quality, it's got higher omega-3, you're going to start to attract attention from people that have got money, that are concerned about the cost of it, more about we want that product. And you see it overseas, like if it's Dom Perignon, champagne, they pay a shitload for it. Whether it's any good or not, I don't know. But what the thing is that if you go to the top of the market, give them no reason to bag you. You know, like if you're selling a premium motor vehicle, you know, they do everything they can to quantify the $300,000 or $400,000 that you pay for it.
Yeah.
And why would we just, you know, make ourselves a bottom dwelling, bloody lowest market denominator producer? It's mad.
Yeah, cheap prices, high supply, push.
Yeah. Well, it would have solved all the pine tree problems and all the other parts. You know, like if you look at the scenario where we're at now, a better product off the farm, higher carbon levels, and rural communities thriving, and people eating healthy food instead of pine trees, carbon trading for governments, and sick people.
Yeah, no, that's a tragedy. So how do you balance tradition and innovation in farming, especially when the industry resists change?
You just get on and do it. I get, out of everything, you know, like I've always just got on, we'll look at this and we'll look at that and we'll find out the answers about this and we'll work out this, and you get it done, and if they look at it, they look at it, but it's always another store in your kitty about, I've got this information here and it goes with this part here, and you get a really wide and expansive knowledge base so that you can push forward. Most of the things that we have done are useful in one way or another, whether it's environmental reports for the council, just going, look, here it is, here I got clean water. Here's one here for meat quality. Here's one for carbon. Here's, you know, you've got all these things that just make you a really robust and powerful farm, and it doesn't cost a lot to do it. In fact, it's actually paramount that you do the testing and the process so that you actually know where you're at.
Yeah.
If you don't know where you're at, you can't move forward.
You have quite a lighthearted and personal touch to things, so I just want to go back to reflecting on the rugby club meat story. Oh, yeah. How often does humour help you get through the ups and downs of farming?
Oh, if you don't use it, you go mad. Like, honestly, it's just you got to laugh at it. I mean, and I know there's a great saying, it's like humour engages the intellect. And if you don't laugh at it, you just become very dour about the whole process. And I mean, you know, the financial pressures and the processes that come with this, and trying to facilitate a lot of research and not getting any help. You've just got to, and you just got to get on and laugh about it and carry on. And you see so many dumb things that you do laugh at, going, oh my good God, how did they do that? It's just like, just laugh. Keep laughing.
All right, well, I'll see you in the next chapter, which will be chapter 9.
Cool, lads.
Follow along with your own hard copy of the book from efa.nz, or listen to the audiobook on Spotify and Audible.